this is the much anticipated tutorial of the beebee planning system that we are introducing. What's important to state is that this is beta, it's still very new. So there will be a few bugs, there might be a few creases to iron out. We are dependent on your feedback to see how it goes. We need to pay attention to if it's effective. So yeah, this is not the final process, kind of system. It's not the final planning. I don't expect it to change dramatically from here on going forwards, but it's my opinion that this is going to make your lives a lot easier. It's going to make the process of generating activities much faster, and I think it'll actually improve the way that we learn and grow as early as providers, as practitioners, because you will learn about how early learning goals, effective learning characteristics, bambooh curriculum intent. You will learn how these things fit into the activity for every activity, giving you a real-world experience, hands-on experience of how these things fit together. You will see and understand, hopefully, why communication language was a learning goal for a particular activity. You will learn how, not only that, you will learn how to understand how it fits into the curriculum intent. There will be some examples of, hopefully if it generates correctly, there'll be some good questions that you can use and demo, or give you guidance or the type of questions you can ask, open-ended questions. So, and then other few tidbits I think is quite cool is stuff like the parent engagement. It actually gives you even tips on parental engagement, things you can share with mum and dad on family to help them support you as you move through the week with your play plan activities. Okay, so that being said, a lot of this will be new, so it'll feel like it's complicated. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's going to be more complicated. I would argue this is easier. It's far more detailed. You just need to get used to it. Once you get used to it, this is going to be an absolute breeze. I would argue and I would predict that you can probably get your planning done within an afternoon. There is going to be writing out, and I'll explain why. I know there's going to be a lot of sighs and maybe some eye rolling going on, but the writing part of filling in the forms, your play plan, is important for your own recall, for your own revision of what's being generated. The problem is a lot of what you will see or what will be done now by the AI is removing the need for you to think your activities through. It's giving you the activities and it's making sure it's integrated and builds on the previous day's activity. It ensures that it builds in all these things that we need to consider when it comes to early years. You still need to understand and know what that does, so that when you are questioned by your manager or an inspector during your activity, you should have a good knowledge of what this activity is actually achieving with the children, how you're measuring it, what you're observing for, what the milestones are. But the beauty now is everything's given to you. And by writing it into the form, it'll help you to recall and remember and understand what the activity represents. And then at the same time, there's a manager sign off on your play plan. You and your manager will need to at least once, have to sit down in the week to discuss what your activities, the activities for the next week, so that the manager can determine whether or not you have read and understand what your activities will entail and how this will be, how it will meet the early years framework and our bambooh curriculum intent. So that being said, let's start. You will see a document that looks a little bit rough. This is the beebee prompt template. The idea is to upload this onto, you'll see this QR code takes you to the beebee chatbot as well. But the idea is to have this Pages document loaded up to the employee portal, which you can download. It's a working document, so you can just copy and paste. That's the idea. There's some instructions. I hope they make sense. And if they don't, let me know so I can adjust and amend. But it basically comes down to the most important part, which will be at this moment for your play plan activities. Now, it says copy from here. Do not copy the red bit, only the bits between the two red markers. You'll see there's a copy from here until there, which is then the end of step 1. So you'll grab them and drag them all the way down, copy, obviously the device situation is being addressed, so no worries for that. So it'll copy this all into the chatbot typed box of input box. If you want to, you can do this outside of the chatbot and copy this, because there is some filling in that you would need to do. So as you would see in the instructions, everything with practitioner, it needs to be filled in by you. So that being said, I'm going to do it in the chat box with beebee. So as I think this is the best way to do it. But you kind of start from the top, you just follow the prompts. And for theme of the week, we'll go with road transportation. Or road transport. Now, beebee has been trained in our basic concepts, our themes, when these themes are occurring, what week and how they follow in each other. So you now just need to say the theme for the week is road transport. The age group will be, let's say, for the sake of demonstration, 2 to 3 years old. Learning goals. Now, as you can see, there's no practitioner there's no practitioner in this little box. This is now a query or a question or an instruction for beebee. So to summarize up the development goals for the week based on EYFS. That's not, you don't touch that, you leave that in the brackets. And then anticipated milestones, again, there's no practitioner prompt before that, you just leave it as is. That is an instruction to beebee. Now, start of week, Monday. Again, the reason why it's written the way it is to give the software, the computer, an understanding, the machine, an understanding of where it is and because that will be important as we go through to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday. Now, we see practitioner over here. This is for Monday only. Okay, you drag all of it. You can just delete it, whichever way you prefer. And if you want to do a mental play activity, if you're a mental play specialist, you go with mental play. The basic concepts. Now, you can, if you want to, before you start this process, ask beebee to give you all the basic process, the bambooh basic concepts for this theme, and it will generate that. I did create a annual basic concepts document, which you can download which you will be able to download from the employee portal. And it still has the concept bingo there. So all the stuff that beebee has been trained on, you will have access to in printed form. So you can either print it out and keep it in a file, or you can just go reference it off the employee portal to give you an idea of what your basic concepts are. I do encourage you to print it out, at least that page that you're working off, if you don't want to print the entire booklet out. But I do encourage you to do the concept bingo, because it's incredibly important that we ensure we have a diverse and comprehensive use of all the basic concepts in this, for every week's theme. Don't worry about age appropriateness anymore. This is now chat's responsibility. The chat bot beebee will be able to give you the activities in an age-appropriate manner or style or medium. So what you need to do is to make sure that you hit your basic concepts at least one in every block if you can, but ensure richness and ensure comprehensive use of this. So you can have this sitting next to you, and as you fill this in, you can do your bingo and ensure that you hit as many of the concepts as possible, if not all of them. I'm going to, for the sake of the demonstration, just say we're going to cover mathematics. Okay, and that I can't actually say all, and that should tell beebee to look at all the mathematics basic concepts, but I also want to go one step further, and I want to include fine motor skills. And don't be scared of challenging the machine. It's really, really clever. It is really good at bringing these things together in a way that it would take you quite a long time to figure it out yourself. It saves you so much time. Now, the development focus, even though we have the development focus or development areas in the weekly summary, you can specify for this particular activity if you want to focus on, say, only communication or specifically on communication language and even let's say mathematics. So I'm just going to delete this out, and I'm going to say and mathematics. Right. Now, duration, that's up to what your schedule allows for. I would say 15 minutes. Minutes, minutes. And then, based on the fact that there's no more practitioner activity, in other words, we spent the time filling in that, we hit the generate button, and now we wait to see what it generates. When it says searching my knowledge, that's a good sign. That means it's looking into the knowledge that we have trained it. Sometimes I've heard some of the practitioners, some of the team complaining that, not complaining, but giving feedback that it didn't give them the right information. It's important to consider saying, please share the bambooh program. Please share the bambooh policies and procedures. Please share the bambooh basic concepts. Please share the bambooh things. The reason is because I have not deactivated access to the rest of the world. Or in other words, to the rest of the internet out there, so that you can ask it other questions to support you with things like support for next steps or that type of thing. I think it's more powerful if it has access to the wider web as well. But you need to tell it exactly, or specifically, go look at the bambooh information. If you do that, you should get the right information. Now, it's given us this, which is the key learning goals. There you can see the key learning goals for the week. The overarching goal of the development. Anticipated milestones. By the end of the week, practitioners should see increased use of transport-related vocabulary, improved turn-taking and collaborative play in group activities, growing curiosity about how transport works, blah, blah, blah. Then on Monday, exploring wheels. You have your theme. You have your mental play, basic concepts, mathematics, it gives you all that as feedback. Now, the appropriate intent of the activity, to introduce the concept of wheels and their function in transport, to develop mathematical thinking, so wheels being round, mathematical thinking by categorizing and counting different types of wheeled vehicles, to enhance fine motor skills through hands-on exploration of wheels. Now, if an Ofsted inspector walks in and she wants to know what this activity is all about, you can go, my intent for this activity is to introduce the concept of wheels and their function in transport, to develop mathematical thinking by so you see, like, it doesn't have to be a clear, you don't have to have a direct memory or clear or exact memory of this, but there are 3 points that are easy to remember for this activity. And that's why I'm saying you're going to have to write this down or translate this through handwriting onto your sheets and discuss it with your manager, so that when you do this activity, you actually do know what the activity entails. I think this is a better way of helping the team, especially the newer team members, to learn and understand how all this fits together. Now, the activity is gather toy vehicles with different numbers and wheels, provide a variety of circular objects, ask children to match toy vehicles, encourage discussion by which vehicle has the most wheels, open-ended questions, and please allow the children to answer. Don't answer for them and don't rush through it. Have patience and let them answer. Which vehicle moves fastest? Let children roll wheels on different surfaces, paper, carpet, wood, to explore how surfaces affect movement. Now you're covering mathematics and communication and language in one go. What you will need, it gives you the exact list of what you will need to prepare for this activity. How this meets our curriculum. This activity promotes curiosity and exploration, helping children link real-world experiences to play. It also strengthens problem-solving skills as they determine which wheel fits with which vehicle, reinforcing our growth mindset approach. And that, if you go look on the posters for our curriculum intent, will be perfectly matched. Then, how does the EYFS development links with this particular activity? Communication language, encouraging discussions about wheel size and speed, mathematics and identifying and counting wheels, recognizing patterns made by rolling wheels, and then understanding the world. It added its own one into it, but learning about how wheels help transport and move. Milestones. What milestones can I expect to see? Children identifying and naming different vehicles, increased confidence in matching objects by shape and number, etc., etc. Now, you'll see on the sheet in a second, I've made an area where you can actually you write this in, and then you can write observations in that particular section to make observations about children who might not be or might be struggling with that particular milestone, who would need to get support, because this is going to help and aid you in your next step. My guidance for effective learning characteristics. This is purely just guidance, but I would like, again, I think it's important to handwrite this out across to your sheets, to encourage curiosity. Again, open-ended questions. What happens when we roll the wheel faster? Why do we think big lorries have more wheels than bicycles? Scaffolding. Help children count wheels, guiding them towards self-discovery. All of that is right there, but you would need to take the time to just read and understand it. I know reading's not fun, but in this case, it is important that you need to. That's why I say handwrite it over to your sheets and discuss it with your manager in an engaging way. Because the more engaging the engagement there is, and learning this stuff through experience and application, the better you will retain it. And then you have family and home connection. Encourage parents to talk to their child about on a walk to spot different vehicles. This you can just send on family. You can even at the end copy and paste this into beebee and ask beebee to give you some scripts that you can put onto family that will explain. Please read what you generate first. Don't just kind of copy and paste just because it's on there. Read it, make sure it's correct. But you can send this. This is an easy way to engage with your parents, and I highly, highly recommend. Actually, it's required of us in the EYFS. So it's not even a highly recommend. We must do it. We have to get mum and dad more involved in the child's development, because the child's development doesn't end at the day nursery. And then it gives you a little bit of a demonstration, an illustration of what it should more or less look like. It's quite curious that there are only little boys in that shot, but we'll look past that for now. Anyway, so that gives you an idea of what the classroom setting should be like, more or less. I also like the show I'm watching in that room. It's very nice and tidy. But yeah, so that's what we have for Monday. Now, since we are done with Monday, we jump back onto our prompt and we go, okay, well, I'm done with Monday. Now, we'll go to Tuesday, which is step 2. So I'm going to copy from there all the way down to where it says copy until here. And I'm going to paste it here into my box. And now we're going to say, I'm still a mental play practitioner. That's my specialization, what I like to do. Play. Basic concepts. I'm going to head back over to my basic concepts sheet. But now I want to focus more on literacy. So we're going to see literacy all. All, and then I'm going to throw in a little bit of I like to throw in a little bit of a lateral one, which is British values. Well, that's easy. Let's go something that's make and bake. Let's see, make and bake. Let's give it a curveball. Let's really test it. And then I want to focus on curriculum, on communication and language, and I want to focus on, why not, physical development. And social, person, emotion, why not? Let's give it the full beans on that. And then duration, let's say 20 minutes, if that time allows for it. So now you'll see we're done. Explain how this activity built on the previous day. This is new because we're on Tuesday. So let's see what it generates. And like you see, this now allows us to make sure that the connection, that the activities and what the children are learning is building. Everything's building from day one in this theme. It starts building on top of what they've learned before. And that's really, really important. Education or early years development does not happen in isolation. One theme is not isolated from the others. They're all connected. Right, so we can skip past all that. We go duration 20 minutes. How this activity built on previous days. This activity continues to focus on wheels from Monday, but adds a hands-on sensory experience by creating edible wheels. How's that going to? It's interesting to see how they get literacy in there. It expands communication language skills through storytelling and sequencing baking steps. Okay. Encourages social development, and children collaborate to mix, shape, and decorate their biscuit wheels. The appropriate intent for this activity is to develop children's early literacy skills by using verbal sequencing, storytelling, and following simple instructions. Boom. To enhance fine motor development through hands-on mixing, rolling, and shaping dough into wheels, and to foster social interaction and teamwork, encouraging children to take turns and share ingredients. Very important for school readiness. There's your step-by-step kind of activity for making and baking. Oh, it seems like it's gone paused on me. This always happens when you want to demo something. This might happen. So it's actually good that it happens. So what you can do is you can stop the process, which it doesn't want to stop. No, there we go. Oh, it kept going. So it's apparently done. When that does happen, you can stop it. You can go back to the query you had here, which is Tuesday, and on devices you have to tap and hold on it, and it'll give you the option to edit. Or in this case, in this case it should. No, it doesn't. Maybe it's on the full chat. So ignore that. Just keep if it does lock out on you like that, you can come back. It might have finished the what's been generated, or it's halfway, didn't finish it. What you do is just copy and paste it in again. It'll start, it'll continue from where it left off. It'll know that it made a mistake. So here we are. So activity is done. What you will need, how this meets Bambooh's curriculum intent, encourages hands-on play-based learning, central remote development, embeds characteristic of effective learning, blah, blah, blah. Then EYFS development links. It tells you exactly the early learning goals for this activity again. What milestones can be expected. Again, this is what you can observe the children on during the activity. So you can look at, it gives you clear kind of things to look out for. There's no more guessing and wondering and hoping you get it right. It's telling you based on the Ofsted's development matters document what you can look out for this age during this activity. And you can make notes on your form, as I'll show you in a second, where you can say, Jimmy was not able to sit still and listen to the instructions. He couldn't follow the multi-step instructions. And then when you come back later, you can actually ask BB to recommend how can you help Jimmy improve his to follow multi-step inspections, etc. And also ask BB, how can I get mum and dad involved? This thing can give you all that as advice. You can build it up. You can become an absolutely supercharged practitioner using this. The guidance of effective learning, playing, and exploring encourages children to engage with materials hands-on, feeling the textures of flour, dough, and baked biscuits, allow for experimentation and making different-sized wheels. Active learning gives you examples of questions again. So it goes on and on. Next step guidance, introduce Play-Doh modeling for children to practice rolling and shaping of wheels, etc., etc. Home and the family and home connections, bake simple biscuits at home. This you can send to mum and dad going, please support us with this. That gives you, again, oh, I'm happy to see some girls in there. This gives you an example more or less of what the type of show that the children should be watching. So with that, and then we can keep going. It's next on, it's Wednesday. So you can see how it's actually incredibly simple. It makes your life, we're busy. We're almost halfway through the week. And it's now been, I'm not even sure how long it's been. I can babble on a little bit, so we're probably on 20 minutes already. But you can see how we're not even on an hour, and I'm almost halfway. We're going halfway through the planning process, or at least generating the planning process. So now we're going to do basic concepts, where we're going to pull up the thing. Let's say we're going to do physical. Let's give it a good little challenge, physical all, and let's be crazy. No, I'm joking. Let's bring in British values. Not things that you would usually put together, but it's good to mix these things up. The more diverse information is presented to us, the more likely we are to learn from it. Things that become too continuous and predictable, we stop paying attention to it. So it's very important to keep it interesting. So we're looking at physical, so it will be physical development. So I can actually just copy and take this out. And yeah, let's keep that in. That sounds like the two will go well together. And then let's go for another 20 minutes. Why not? It's a big ask from a 2-year-old group, but let's give it a go. Let's see what BB gives us. So again, searching my knowledge is a good sign. It means it's looking at the knowledge that we have trained it. Oh, stop and go. Nice. So this actually builds on the previous week's theme of road safety. So how this activity builds on previous days. Monday introduces the concept of wheels and motion, helping children understand how vehicles move. Tuesday explore transport creatively through baking, reinforcing circular shapes and movement. Wednesday builds on the knowledge of bringing movement to life, allowing children to embody the vehicles as they have learned about as they have learned about while introducing British values such as rule of law and democracy, making choices. So the appropriate intent to promote physical activity through movement-based play, supporting gross motor skills and coordination, to introduce children to follow instructions and rules, linking it to British values such as rule of law, to encourage social interaction by taking turns. Again, the intent is what an inspector or your manager will ask of you when they observe you doing this activity. They'll ask, what's your intent here? And if you can, just like when you can highlight key words when you do your when you're writing it over, to remind yourself on what your intentions are, so that when you review it with your manager, you can revise it, but also you can have this available for reference should you forget. I do not think there's any harm if you go, it's to promote physical activity, it's to follow instructions and rules, and there's a third one, quickly checking in your book going, oh, it encourages a social interaction. That's what my intent for this activity is. Then you have your instruction for the game, for the activity, what you will need again, how this meets bambooh curriculum intent. It is the active learning by engaging body movements through gross motor skills, support social emotional growth, blah blah blah. EYFS development links again for this particular activity. What milestones I can expect to see again. This is where you need to observe and make notes on, so you can see without me dragging on with this, which I already am. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to show you how this will flow. It's very simple, very easy to do, very easy to follow. If you don't like that activity, you can actually, let's try this. We can say, I'm not super happy with that activity. Can we try something else? Maybe something. Sorry, my typing is horrendous today. Something outside. Let's see what it says. What this also does, it gives it feedback. It learns. It goes, okay, you weren't happy with that particular activity, and it'll adjust. It'll start to learn, and that's another thing that I need to make clear here, and I hope you're still around because this is important information, which I should have mentioned in the beginning. But it's important to understand that or try to keep your threads in the same thread. In other words, always come back to this particular thread if you can. I'm not sure if it lists it on the side. If it does, you can rename it and give it your name. But if you stay in the same thread, when you use this particular same render, the machine will learn what you prefer and how you like your activities to roll out. So it's created a completely new activity for us. Monday introduced wheels movement, baking wheels. Wednesday now expands learning outdoors, allows children to use their full body in active play, building. So it's a complete new new activity. If you check your bingo and you feel like, oh, we're too heavy on cognitive stuff, we need a little bit of physical play, we need to get outside, I would like to incorporate gardening because there's gardening in here as well. All that stuff can be done right there. It's the computer's not going to get angry at you for not making your mind up. It's going to work with you. Let's see what the activity is. I'm always curious to see what the renders are. If this fails, no worries. There's no requirement for you to have the image for us to see. It's just to give you an idea of just for your own visualization of what you should be seeing. That is insane, but you get the gist. Okay, that's nuts. Maybe about 100 less children, but that's crazy. But it gives you an idea, gives you the gist of what they're trying to explain. So I hope that makes sense. Now, when you're done with generating all your activities, or you can do this day by day, but I've created a form that's now going to replace the ones that we have. No more separation about filling in this form, then that form, then this form. It's going to be printed out as one booklet. Okay, so it looks very long. but it's basically, I've given the lines very thick margins, so it's going to, for you for easy writing, but it's basically going to follow the headings that you have here. So you'll see it corresponds. So if I go to Monday, all the way up, Monday, you can just fill in what's there. You fill in your appropriate intent for this activity. You write in the activity, what you will need. That's supposed to be a tick box. It's a bit big, but you can have a tick box over there, and then how will this meet our Bambooh curriculum intent? There you go. Your EFS development links. So over here you can just use the abbreviations CLM or math and UW, etc., etc. Then what milestones can we expect to see? You write your milestone in there, and then you make your notes. If Jimmy did not meet or isn't up to speed with identifying and naming different vehicles, you write it in there, because you can come back later on and ask it, what can I bring into Jimmy didn't meet the milestone for children identifying, naming different vehicles. How can I support him in that? And it'll give you can do it in this thread, and it'll tell you what to do. So actual fact, let's do an example of that. So I'm going to go, Jimmy was unable to identify identify and naming different vehicles. How can I support him to catch up? Let's see what it says. You can say, Jimmy, supporting Jimmy. No. So assess, understand his needs. Note if he struggles with memory recall. Check if he understands concept of vehicles, but just struggles with names. It's going to give you a very comprehensive layout. What you can do is, I recommend, is just making some notes, taking this and making a few notes that you think is pertinent or relevant to what Jimmy just went through or needed. Or if you feel it needs more of this comprehension approach, print it out and keep it in your file. You can copy and paste it into any document. I'm not going to be fussed with this type of thing having the perfect styling. The key is that you use this and you can show that you are working on helping the children get up to speed. Again, this is very comprehensive. You can actually tell it, you can stop it, and we can go back and say, there's the little pen. You can actually change it and say, Jimmy was unable to please give me a concise, concise paragraph blimey, on how to support him. So send, because that was way too much. I wasn't looking for that much. So there it'll give you just a quick sentence that you can actually put into your notes if you want to. Or just copy and paste onto a document that you can log for later if you want to come back to it. But yeah, it's really that simple. If you're using a laptop, you can use that as your copy. It's also good to give it feedback, but don't worry too much about that. Otherwise, just copy and paste it and keep it as record. The key here is to make sure you keep these things as record and notes for this pack. So you'll have a pack for this theme that you can put in your file or in your portfolio, because we're also adding an extra page where you paste an example of the best work by the child in that space. If it's an activity, take a photo, and that needs to be placed on there as well, so we can see what the best result is of that activity. So to see which team members need support and help. The same goes for Tuesday. So the same goes on. You do Tuesday. As you can see, then next step guidance, home, all that is in there. So you can have a comprehensive activity, and if you're really ambitious and you're really industrious, you can actually take a weekend or take an afternoon or a week, and you can plan ahead months in advance. We still have the actual impact observed at the end of the week, where you can make your observations for the next week, and you can use those in the next, when you do your next themes generations or BB requests. But you can get ahead weeks in advance. I mean, I would argue that you can, in one day, if you sit down for a day, during a weekend, you can get your whole month's planning done, scripted, ready to go, and just need to discuss it with your manager to make sure you understand what you are putting down on paper. That's very important. And now I hope you can see why I'm banging on about face, what show they're watching, because most of the drudgery, the most of the laborious work has been taken away from you. You're now going to learn how the Bambooh curriculum and the early learning goals and all these things apply through interacting and exercising the activity. You can see how these things fit in and why these and how they link, instead of getting a book knowledge, because that doesn't work. But now it's all about delivery. It's all about making sure that when you walk into class, it's showtime. It's big time showtime. It's all about what are these kids watching and how exciting and how engaging you can make this activity. And if we can do that, there is no way that Bambooh can be beaten when it comes to early years, which makes me really excited, because we have a team that truly has the potential to be bar none. It's unmatched, and this now gives us the tool to do that. As you can see, it's really easy. If you have questions, let me know. Ask. Happy to help. It's straightforward. And like I said, we're working on getting the devices standardized across the setting, but go play with it. You will never make a mistake with this. If you want to, I would recommend playing with a thread. Like, go through this whole process. Go download the prompt template from the employee portal. Copy and paste and play with it. Give it different. Test the themes as well. But play with the different basic concepts. Play with, see how it generates in, how different. Every time you create a new window, it'll be slightly different. But see how they differ, and see how you can maybe find one that you like the type of activities most, or the ones that you feel that kind of fit you more. I'm being Afrikaans here, sorry. But the key is to play. With anything, just with the kids, we as adults learn best if we are playing and engaging with our content. So please, you cannot do anything wrong. The machine won't get angry at you. You don't mess anything up. If you're done playing with your thread and you don't like it, you can delete it and you can start a new one, which is, by the way, done through that little icon there. So that is it. We will have training in March where I will do I think we can actually do a physical demonstration or go through it, in the training, and make sure everyone's on board, everyone finds things usable and understandable. But yeah, so go play, just like the children. Learning through play is the best way for humans to learn and interact and engage with the content. So have an amazing day. It's been a long video. Have a cup of coffee or tea. Don't drink coffee before bedtime, but have a beverage of your choosing if it's before bedtime. And I thank you for your time, as always, and have an amazing day. And yeah, speak soon. Cheers.